Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I want to start out of the gates by saying that I am not a doctor, and mental health is a vast issue, as you will see, with many different symptoms when it comes to depression and many different reasons when it comes to depression, just like with any type of mental health issue. I would say that your happiness is caused by a multitude of varying factors. Therefore, when you don't feel so great and it gets to a clinical level, one in which you feel like you can't go on or it is constant and overbearing, really, you're looking at something that has what? A vast, and I mean a vast amount of different solutions, none of which, in my opinion, should be the sustained cocktails of serotonin reuptake inhibitors over not weeks or months or even years, but decades in many cases. It has created a multi-billion-dollar industry that has empowered the wallets of those that have promoted it. And the idea that all of this stems from chemical imbalances. That is what depression is. No talk of physical health to start, exercise, goal-orientated behavior, support groups among friends instead of physicians and therapists. None of that gets discussed. Okay? And I'm not saying that there aren't people that might need some type of medication for a short time. But if you become dependent on a substance that is altering your brain chemistry and is being prescribed to you by an authoritative source, you will be so much more likely to be in denial, just like every other drug addict out there. That are you completely dependent on something that gives you a chemical feeling and kick and not getting at the root of the issue, and therefore your depression is not really treated. Now, this is out of UCL, and we're going to read a lot of it word for word. Let me repeat that. Word for word, because I don't want to interject too much. But I do want to say out of the gates, one of the things we never talk about with these drugs is when they are used by what? People that have suicidal and homicidal behavior and actions. And what do I mean by that? Take a look at the last shooter on the top of the mall. The one that climbed up during the parade, I believe was a mall or a shopping center, right? That guy, multiple suicide attempts, 100% medicated, never discussed. Talk about Uvalde. Has anybody talked about whether or not that person was on these type of drugs? All of them seem to have the red flags and the mental health issues. And I will take it a step further in this video down the line and say that this is not just about what? Profits, but that's how it's promoted, right? As long as pockets are being lined up and everybody's got plausible deniability, right? They're going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this. But it is part of a larger program, one that was predicted in Huxley's Brave New World, of medicating a vast amount of the populace and putting them under mind control. And that is why many institutions, colleges, and pharmaceutical companies were pills deep in MK Ultra. They were pills deep in MK Ultra. And if you don't understand what psychological and biochemical warfare is, and that it goes beyond what a lot of people can comprehend, I'm sorry for you. So, guys, thumbs this up, subscribe, share, come over to the uncensored world of Rumble, Podbean, and Rockfin. Whenever I get a YouTube notification, I just assume I'm probably being kicked off or they're taking off another video. It's tough out there. I could also use you buying me a coffee. Those links are down below, but let's not waste any time. Depression is not caused by low serotonin levels. Study casts doubts over widespread use of potent drugs designed to treat chemical imbalance in brain. The chemical imbalance theory. Low serotonin levels do not cause depression, according to a major review. Today's landmark findings call into question society's ever-growing reliance on antidepressants like Prozac. And these drugs, including all pharmaceuticals, by the way, should not be allowed to be advertised on television. Period. Period. They should be prescribed by a doctor. This is not about your health. All right? This is about control and profit. Okay? Millions of patients take selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors designed to boost levels of the feel-good chemical. Again, don't get it by achieving something. Don't get it by painting a picture, doing a run in the morning, right? Doing well at your job, hitting a relationship goal, spending some time with your child, taking your mother to dinner. No. Take a pill. It's going to make you feel all better. All better. Millions of patients, University College of London researchers, UCL, argue, however, that there's no convincing evidence that depression is caused by an imbalance of the chemical. One academic involved in the study described his findings as eye-opening and that everything I thought I knew has been flipped upside down. Lead author Professor Joanna Moncrieff, a psychiatrist, said the popularity of the chemical imbalance theory has coincided with a huge increase in the use of antidepressants. Thousands suffer from side effects of antidepressants, and they don't even say the real ones, including severe withdrawal effects, and we'll get to those in a minute, that can occur when people try to stop them, yet prescription rates continue to rise. So, yeah, they're working so well that look how many people, they're working well for those that want to control and profiteer off the misery of humanity. Look, take a good look. That's the rise in England from 2013 down here to 2020. 2016 to 2020. Okay, so it's green to, and it's everybody, every single one, just increase. 13-year-olds on SSRIs. They go after your kids in so many ways. This is disturbing and disgusting. So there you have it. It keeps going up. We believe this situation has been driven in part by a false belief that depression is due to a chemical imbalance. No, it is a false belief, all right, but they're putting it out there because this is about mind control. And by the way, so many people are coming out of the woodwork within the medical community, casting doubt on this. I want to show that let's see what the expert reaction is to the review on the paper of Serotonin Theory of Depression. What's the expert reaction? And it's all trashing it. And if anybody wants to see what UCL is all about, ucl.ac.uk, you can check out their research. And I'm not saying any of these universities are perfect, but I want to point this out. 80 institutions using CIA mind studies. Yeah, this is 1977. This is a story that's almost 45 years old. No big deal. No, let's just read the first paragraph of it, huh? It's not a big deal, right? Stanfield Turner, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, testified the CIA had secretly supported human behavioral control research at 80 institutions, including 44 colleges or universities, as well as hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies. And pharmaceutical companies wasn't just about LSD. I want to make that clear. They worked in conjunction with these pharmaceutical companies, to control your mind. They worked with Harvard to control your mind. And by the way, just to let you know, the Jonestown commune had a huge stockpile of mind control drugs. Huge stockpile. Just throwing that out there. I want to continue on. Okay? 1 in 6 British adults and roughly 13% of Americans take antidepressants, figures suggest. More than 1 in 10 in this country are on these drugs, folks. More than 1 in 10. And it's not just the insanity of a depressed mass shooter. What do you think happens when the husband or the wife decides to murder the kids and their spouse and then take their own life? It's called homicidal and suicidal behavior. Now, the long-term effects, I'm going to tell you of, just somebody I know, let's just say that, somebody within my family on these things for years and years. You can't get off them. This was a description that was given, and sadly was given on social media, like as a cry for help, that sometimes this person would just kind of be alone outside, and they would be reliving a moment vividly from the past 20 to 30 years ago and thinking it was going on. It's not. You're having a psychotic episode. Meanwhile, his short-term memory on what's going on in reality, it's not there. Okay, so those are the types of side effects that these awesome antidepressants have. Not confronting what's wrong in your life and trying to change it. We all have problems. And I realize that, again, there are varying degrees of this, but we also have to accept that it shouldn't just be a one-size-fits-all problem. 13% in this country taking these drugs, when there's, according to this study, no evidence they work. And boy, when they start reporting on this in the United States, they're going to have the propagandists geared up to attack it. Geared up. You better believe that. NHS data shows there's been a surge in prescription doled out in England, with 8.3 million patients taking them in 2022. 6% more than the previous year. The most common are SSRIs, such as fluvoxamine, a.k.a. Prozac. What is that? Citalopram, Cipamel, and sertraline lestrol. Serotonin helps carry signals to the brain and is thought to be a positive influence on mood, emotions, and sleep. They are preferred to other types of antidepressants because they cause fewer side effects. Yucca, yucca, yucca. And then they talk to about anxiety, diarrhea, dizziness, and blurred visions. Let me say it again. For those that don't get it. Remember, like Abilify, the antidepressant on top of your antidepressant? They all, in that little thing in that voice, really quickly, as they show you a bunch of people on the playground and in a field together and on the job site and hugging their spouse and their children and their grandchildren, they let you know that it could cause more severe depression or suicidal thoughts and actions. What? An action? What? Going back to what I just said, remember Phil Hartman, murdered in his sleep by his wife that was on a ton of these things? The red flags have been there for years. Okay? Depressed patients can also be hit by crippling withdrawal symptoms. Again, yes, we talked about this. Crippling withdrawal symptoms. Okay? At the same time, a raft of studies have suggested they don't work any better than placebo. Let me say that again. A raft of studies don't work better than placebo. The UCL study published, the Journal of Molecular Psychiatry, analyzed 17 previous reviews, dating all the way back to 2010. Again, we've had all this in our face, okay, and consisting of dozens of individual trials. It does not prove SSRIs don't work. However, it does suggest the drugs don't treat depression by fixing abnormally low serotonin levels. SSRIs have no other proven way of working, Professor Moncliffe and colleagues said. You get it? Doesn't work better than placebo. We can safely say that after a vast amount of research conducted over several decades, there is no convincing evidence depression is caused by serotonin or abnormalities, particularly by low levels and reduced activity of serotonin. We do not understand what antidepressants are doing in the brain exactly. We still don't get it. Well, let me give you a little hint. They make people more malleable. They make them dependent on a drug that they're constantly paying into and into and into. And again, we talked about those side effects, and they talk about them in the commercials. All right? Studies used in the review involved hundreds of thousands of people from various countries. They found there was no difference in serotonin levels between people diagnosed with depression and healthy people, despite polls suggesting up to 95% of public believing this is the case. Artificially lowering serotonin levels in healthy volunteers also did not lead them to develop depression. And over the long term, powerful SSRIs may actually have the opposite effect as to what is intended. Wow. Wow. So guys, there it is. I want you to thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. I also would love it if you checked out my documentary films, Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Shared them with others. They're free. There's important information in there. If you don't understand 9/11, if you want to see Joey B before he was, Zombie J, when he was gangster-style Biden, please check out Fabled Enemies. Blow your mind. Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. A lot of it coming to fruition today. You better bet your bottom dollar. And then Shade the Motion Picture, I think my best film, still important almost 10 years ago. Consider buying me a coffee. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. It's how we support this broadcast. You can also make a premium subscription over at the Rockfin. $9.99 a month to subscribe. $99.99 for the year. You hit that endorse button. You got to do it on a desktop. You get everybody else's premium content as well. It's another great way to support this broadcast. We rumbling. We're on Rumble. I could use the follow. We're uncensored here as well as there. And if you want the audio format, it's over at the Podbean. I want to say, folks, not a left or right issue, a right and wrong issue. As always, look beyond what the mainstream will tell you, even when they're telling you part of the truth. I love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.